ask you this question, because I think this is the next logical question, because the President of the United States, you, unlike, say, Hillary Clinton in her case,
right,
a president has the power to declassify.
Correct.
Okay. You had said on Truth Social a number of times you did declassify.
I did declassify, yes.
Okay. Is there a process? What was your process to declassify?
There doesn't have to be a process, as I understand it. You know, there's different people say different things, but as I understand, there doesn't have to be. If you're the President of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it, because you're sending it to Mar-a-Lago or to wherever you're sending it. And there doesn't have to be a process. There can be a process, but there doesn't have to be. You're the President. You make that decision. So when you send it, it's declassified. I declassified everything. Now, I declassified things, and we were having a lot of problems with NARA. You know, NARA is a radical left group of people running that thing, and when you send documents over there, I would say there's a very good chance that a lot of those documents will never be seen again. There's also a lot of speculation because of what they did, the severity of the FBI coming and raiding Mar-a-Lago. Were they looking for the Hillary Clinton emails that were deleted, but they are around someplace? Were they looking for the spying on Trump's?
You're not saying you had it.
No, they may be saying, they may have thought that it was in there.
Okay.
And a lot of people said the only thing that would give the kind of severity that they showed by actually coming in and raiding with many, many people is the Hillary Clinton deal, the Russia stuff, or I mean, there are a number of things. The spying on Trump's campaign. So they spied on my campaign.
Good evening from Los Angeles, California. I'm Dr. Ryan Ava. This is the ex-president of the United States of America saying that one can declassify documents by way of thinking about it. Here's Brian Tyler Cohen, who, by the way, is the go-to guy on YouTube for no BS, true political news and analysis. I have included a link to his channel on your top right and in the description. Please subscribe to his channel and follow him on social media. Again, the links are in the description. And here he is on Trump's latest interview.
Okay, look, Donald Trump has said some really stupid things before. We've watched the guy suggest that bleach would cure COVID, that you need ID to buy groceries, that windmills cause cancer, that George Washington won the Revolutionary War by taking over the airports. One time he described having a son by referring to Melania and saying, she's got a son together. So when I say that Donald Trump just said the stupidest thing I've ever heard, I don't say that lightly. But this was the stupidest shit I've ever heard. So that we're clear, the guy just suggested that the classified documents he stole from the White House were actually declassified by way of his mind. That's right, apparently the president is so all-powerful that the mere act of thinking about declassification is enough to manifest it. And what's almost worse is that Sean Hannity just sat there nodding along like just as big an idiot as Trump. Just sitting there thinking, yup, that sounds right. Nothing setting off the bullshit meter here. Everything checking out. And ostensibly Hannity knows better, although that's certainly not a hill that I'm willing to die on. But one would presume that Hannity knows better, which means that this is all part of a concerted effort to dupe his own audience. I truly could not fathom treating my audience as logic-defyingly brain-dead stupid as Sean Hannity treats his. But then again, guess that's why I don't have a show on Fox. Like, let's be honest here. What would Sean Hannity say if Barack Obama stole hundreds of classified documents from the White House, ignored requests by the National Archives to return them, ignored a subpoena sent to return them, forced the government to go to a federal magistrate and issue a search warrant to recover them, and then went on Hannity's show and told him that it's all good because he had already declassified everything in his mind? Do you really think that Hannity would say, sounds good, next question? Imagine these people at least trying not to look like such brazen hacks. Now, before we go any further, to say what apparently Sean Hannity was unable to say while Trump was spewing his avalanche of bullshit, while the president does have declassification authority, there are still processes that have to be followed to actually do it. And no, it's not just waving your hand over the documents, and it is definitely not by thinking it. For example, there are regulations under the most recent executive order issued by Obama in 2009 regarding statutory commands that requires consultation with the agency that originally classified that information before anyone can try to declassify it. Trump would also have been outright restricted from declassifying documents containing information relating to nuclear weapons and intelligence agents. And lo and behold, there just so happen to be materials identified as human source information picked up by the DOJ. And most importantly, the 2009 executive order also made one more point, that no official leaving government service may remove classified information from the government's control or direct that information be declassified in order to remove it from agency control. Meaning that because these documents were still declassified and Trump took them, he broke the law. And even if he did declassify them, which he didn't, but just humor me for a second, declassifying them so that he could retroactively justify his theft is still illegal. In other words, any way you cut it, the guy broke the law, and no desperate attempts to claim mental declassification is going to change that. Which makes it all the more absurd when Trump says this.
Is there a process? What was your process to declassify?
There doesn't have to be a process, as I understand it. You know, there's different people say different things.
Like, yeah, different people say different things. Like, some people say the truth, that processes have to be followed to declassify documents, and then other people lie and say that they don't. Those are the different people saying different things.
There is a movie, I think, it's called The Minority Report, that do things similar to what Trump just claimed. Except in Minority Report, the cogs were hyper intelligent. What we are talking about here is a very different subspecies. Critics of Donald Trump often get derided as people having Trump derangement syndrome. They are just so obsessed with the former disgraced president. I think the label actually works a lot better for Trump himself. I mean, the guy has narcissistic personality disorder with grandiose delusional features and psychopathic tendencies, which explains his truly deranged behavior and his way of thinking and talking. It's fitting to what Susan Glaser and Peter Baker talk about in their most recent book, The Divider. They talk about how John Kelly went and picked up a psych book to try to understand Donald Trump, because even his own chief of staff genuinely thought he had mental health issues. And this is another manifestation of what we saw during the Trump administration, his view that the presidency was all powerful. And now clearly his view that those powers continue in the post-presidency. And by the way, Donald Trump used the word or words like that often. He thought, if you recall, to have magical power to solve any number of different issues. That's how he thought about the pandemic and the COVID-19 response. Donald Trump thinks that when you are the president of the United States, the power is absolute and total. And that's the way that's gotta be. Which explains his obsession with dictators. But that's simply not the case when it comes to the way of the American government. After all, we are a democracy. And it certainly doesn't apply to the classified information and documents he stole. And as we saw, in the wake of the Nixon presidency, the Supreme Court really came out to the conclusion that presidential decisions need to be documented and be officially government property. Therefore, I don't believe that the Supreme Court, or any other court for that matter, would agree with the notion that presidents can simply think and declassify. Additionally, amid all the discussion on the declassification, it really doesn't matter here, as the 3 legal statutes under which he was charged don't require documents to be classified. In other words, A, Trump didn't declassify anything with the power of his imaginations, nor could he, and B, it doesn't matter whether the stolen documents were classified or declassified. They were stolen, and that is all that matters. To support my work, please click the subscribe, the like button, and the notification bell so you wouldn't miss any of my new videos.